Hello and welcome to the Parent Tech Support Show. My name is Jack Hughes and my mission is to help parents protect their kids online. Today I am joined by Jordan Rigter. Uh, he is the co-founder and CEO of Unpluq, which is a company dedicated to helping people cut their screen time for people and now for families. So good to have you on today, Jordan. I hope I said your name correct there.
Yeah, that's perfect, Jack. Happy to be here. Yeah, thanks.
Um, I was curious. I know I'm based in Wisconsin in America. Where are you calling out from?
I'm in Rotterdam in the Netherlands.
Oh wow, Netherlands. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a lot to get in the podcast today, and I'm really excited to do so. Everything from, the statistics of how you've helped people cut screen time, to how Unplug works. And I know you just launched another system to help parents and families reduce their children's screen time. But first, I wanted to
hmm
hear a little bit about you. What's your story? What made you want to start Unplug?
Right. Yeah, so the seed of Unpluq actually really began during university, where I was on occasion just really struggling to focus on my studies because I would get distracted by my phone. I would take it out. I think this is relatable to a lot of people. I
Yeah.
would take it out for one thing, and then you open your phone and just unintentionally, it's like this Pavlov response. You just hit that red icon that says you have a notification, or it just unintentionally you go into these time-sucking apps, and 30 minutes later I realized, like, man, I actually didn't want to spend that time in this way. I would have rather spent that studying. And I saw this all around me, people struggling to put their phone down during when they actually wanted to go to bed, people just struggling to really enjoy life or get the most out of life because they would spend hours per day just in these time sucking and attention sucking apps that is time that they didn't really want to spend in those apps. So that's where the seed of Unpluq started, because I tried out all the apps that were out there, like literally all of them. And
Hmm.
they just never worked for me because either they were really easy to circumvent. I'm sure most people have tried Screen Time, for example, from Apple, or Digital Wellbeing for Android. And it's just literally one or two clicks. You get a pop-up
Yeah.
saying your time is up today. You hit that, give me 15 more minutes, or just turn it off for the day, and you're back in again. And those are not effective. And then there were some other apps that were maybe too restrictive. So Unpluq is really based on a theory called rational override theory, where you introduce a certain amount of friction that's just high enough so that you go from unintentional behavior to intentional behavior.
Mm.
Um, and that is what this physical yellow NFC tag really does, is it brings you from taking out your phone and going into that unintentional state of, okay, let me just open that app. It blocks that from happening, and then you have to physically tap this yellow NFC tag to the back of your phone to access that distracting app.
Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely relate a lot with trying to get work done. For example, trying to write these questions for you these past few days was really tough for me because I kept getting that little itch to pull up my phone just to check a message, and then next thing I know, I'm on Instagram, and 45 minutes has passed. So I pulled out your little tag here. It's on my keychain, and I used it to, I turned on Unplug and I turned on those apps, and I was able to write this script a lot easier. So that's just one little example. And then like what I would
That's
do
awesome.
is I would keep my tag in the other side of the house or the other side of the office.
Mhm.
So I really
Yeah.
wanted to go on Instagram. I don't have to get up of my chair and walk across the
Yeah.
whole building to check it, and that
Yeah.
has helped reduce my screen time from like 6 hours to down to like 3 after work or
Yeah.
something.
That's so fascinating, right? Because we hear this all the time, that just that little intervention of just putting that physical NFC tag in a different room, it makes such
Yeah,
a big difference, because it's not just you get your phone, because your phone is most of the time with you, and most people want that as well because it's a useful tool. Where I'm also not really pro tech. I'm just also pro boundaries.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, this is so effective because you actually physically have to go get up and go get it. And that's what makes it so effective because then you're like, yeah, is it worth it to get up, go to that other
Mm-hmm.
room and walk there? And then you're like, yeah, maybe I just don't do it this time.
Yeah,
And you save some time. Yeah.
it's like all the decisions you make to pick up your phone, it's all subconscious. It's like you don't even realize what you're doing. And what's really helpful about that tag
Right.
is you have to make a conscious decision. You have to be conscious
Hmm.
with it, which
Hmm.
I'm sure can help you break a lot of bad habits. I,
Hmm.
I wonder if there's any way you could do it to help break other bad habits, like maybe vaping or something like that. You have to scan your vape or something. I don't know. It's just a thought I just had.
Yeah. Cool,
Um,
interesting. I mean, it is definitely the theory is based on creating that physical barrier, and it is being used in different domains. For example, I'm not sure if you've read the book by Kyle Newport about well-being, but or sorry, it's not Kyle Newport.
I've read
I
the
forgot
book called Atomic
the
Habits.
Atomic Habits. That's the one I mean, and it's not Cal Newport. Who's the writer again?
I don't know who's the writer.
Uh, okay. Anyways, there's this theory in there where you put fruit in on the table instead of putting candy, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just creating these intentional, yeah, these intentional barriers to promote good behavior because you cannot prevent yourself from all the time having the willpower to just resist the urges that you're gonna get, but it's
Yeah.
really about creating the context and the setting for yourself to make sure that you don't fall for these urges that you have. Yeah.
Yeah, like another thing that's really helpful with Unplug is whenever I would try to stay off my phone before I had Unplug, I would delete Instagram and I would delete YouTube, and it would work for 3 days, and I would stay off those services. But at the end of the day, it is still really useful to go on these services every once in a while. Whether that's to
Totally.
upload a video on Instagram or whether that's to watch an educational or just a YouTube video be entertained, it's helpful. But
Mhm.
it's like you either cut off your hand or you keep using your hand. I don't know. That's not a good analogy, but it's like I don't want to cut off my hand at the same time.
Right. Yeah. No, makes sense. I mean, yeah, it's totally true. Like some of these apps, a lot of these apps can provide a lot of value and do provide a lot of value. It's just about trying to balance that, right? And I think for a lot of us, it goes into the other extreme where it's too much and overuse and over information, and it's not making you happy. And it's just about balancing that. And sometimes it can be really fulfilling to just be on Instagram, see what your friends are up to. It's just about finding that right balance.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've also looked on your app, and it's cool because the for the people who don't have the little NFT tag, you also offer like little puzzles and like monotonous tasks to also kind of have that little barrier too, which I thought was pretty cool.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's indeed for individuals, we offer a numerous amount of different barriers that they can use. Not only that NFC tag, but indeed tapping a pattern, shaking your phone, scanning a QR code, stuff like that. On Android, we even have like walking a certain amount of steps before you
Oh
can
wow,
unlock.
that's pretty cool.
Um, yeah, and for families, we've consciously made the decision to just make it about the NFC tag because a lot of parents wrote us wanting to use that tag in their family. So we started by just using the tag as a barrier because obviously as a parent, you will want a little bit of a say or some control over when the apps that are blocked are being unblocked. And the tag is really that way of basically the key to the phone, right? It's the key to
Yeah.
the apps that are blocked on the child's phone.
Oh, that's really fascinating. Yeah. I remember like if I was a kid, I would always try to figure out my parents' screen time password so I can have my time on block. But if it's a physical device, especially
Hmm.
parents who aren't as tech savvy as their children,
Hmm.
I'm sure that yeah, that's a really cool analogy of putting it as a key where they have to
Yeah,
scan it, and it's like a conscious decision from the parents. It's almost like unlocking the cabinet so they can have chocolate or something, kind of the same
exactly.
vein.
Exactly. And the thing is that a lot of parents get into these arguments with their kids about, do you get another 5 or 10 minutes? Like, I just one more game. I'm almost finished with this game. It's just constant arguments and fights over screen time, and that is not a that is not a very comfortable position to be in as a parent, to always have to be policing and have to be the one who says no. And Unpluq in this dynamic kind of takes over that bad cop dynamic where it's like the boundaries are really clear. You get this amount of screen time. If you unlock it with this tag, you, for example, get half an hour where you can just do whatever you want on different apps, or a subset of some of these apps. Um, and when you don't have the tag and it's not unblocked, you don't have access to those distracting apps or potentially harmful apps, but you can still access all of the useful ones, like calling your parents if you're going to school or coming back from school, other school apps, I don't know, your calendar, Spotify, music, navigation. All those useful apps are accessible. And yeah, that's what parents really like about it, is that it gives them
More control.
basically a phone, maybe a phone with some training wheels or some
Yeah.
guardrails in place, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a I just had a thought about like one thing I've talked to parents a lot of times is you don't want to have your children to have absolutely nothing until they're 18, they leave the house and
Right.
now they have everything. Which is
Hmm.
great about an unplugged tag is like, you for an older child, because I think like a 12-year-old should not have Instagram, but an older child, someone who's like 15, 16, maybe you allow them to have Instagram, you allow them to have Snapchat and YouTube, but you have
Hmm.
unplug on there. So you kind of build
Right.
up their tolerance, you build up their habits, so eventually you
Right.
can let them go free, which is pretty cool. Um,
Hmm.
so I think I sort of getting a little understanding of how Unplugged Family works. Is it where like let's say I have two children, they both have iPhones, and as a
Hmm.
parent myself, I would have the tag where I would scan their phone. Is that how that system works?
Yeah, that's right. So the way you set it up is you install Unpluq Family on the app itself on the phone of your child. You go through the setup instructions. You then can optionally link your specific tag to the phone to make the setup more secure, because kids are smart and they probably can find ways around it by, for example, copying an NFC tag. You can prevent that by linking one specific tag to the phone. And then you just select which apps are distracting, when are they supposed to be blocked, on which schedule. You can say 24/7. You can also make it only weekdays or only from 9 to 5, whatever you want. And then indeed, when they want to unblock it, you scan the tag to the back of the phone and it functions as a key to access those blocked apps.
Yeah, yeah, it seems very intuitive. I know the unplug for like adults or for people who want to do it themselves is very easy to set up, and I kind
Mhm.
of understand how that works. And since since you're since you founded Unplugged, did you code and work on all these apps yourself? How did that technical stuff work?
Yeah. So my background is in computer science. So I did write both of the apps and also the backend. It's just me at the moment. So yeah, all the code is written by me as well. Um, and it's mostly inspired by a lot of interviews that I had with parents, where, as I said, we got a lot of requests from parents because we have it for individuals, and parents would ask us, can we use this with our family? Because it's really enticing to have this physical thing that works as a key. We don't have to understand exactly how it works. It's just set it up once and then it's this physical product, instead of having to do stuff on your phone and yeah, yada yada. So that is really where the idea for family came along. And then the way that the product is shaped is also based a lot on those conversations, those early conversations with parents that I had.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. I mean, and have you had such, I know it's only been out for what, 2 weeks now, if maybe less than
Hmm.
that. Have
Hmm.
you already had any feedback from parents, maybe any testimonials? Have you heard any good news from that?
Yeah, so I've heard a couple of parents wrote in. So the product's been out for about 2 weeks. Shipment usually takes about 1 or 2 weeks. Right now, I'm aiming
Mm-hmm.
to make that much quicker to the US, but right now it takes about that time. So there haven't been a lot of new customers, but there were some existing customers who have converted to using, and they already had a tag. And they've told me pretty interesting things. For example, one parent told me, and this is related to what we were just talking about. She had a pretty nice analogy. She was saying that it's similar to giving, instead of giving your kid the keys to the Ferrari, you give them the keys to the scooter. So it's like you give them some training wheels before handing them over this full-fledged phone that has so many potentially also harmful or yeah, like distracting apps on there. um, you give them something that has some guardrails in place. And yeah, she really liked it. There are a couple of other quotes on the website from parents that have used it, and yeah, we're really happy about the results that it's giving them and their family. Yeah.
Yeah. I believe it was either on like the Google Play Store or it was on some article that was written about you guys. And it was
Hmm.
saying that I can't exactly remember how much time on average do you save your clients?
Yeah, it's about an hour and 20 minutes per day
Oh,
on
wow.
average. Yeah, and that is
Yeah.
on average. Like sometimes we have people that save, I don't know, 3, 4, even I've heard 8 hours per day that were
Oh my
saved.
goodness.
So yeah, it differs a lot, but the average is 1 hour and 20 minutes,
I'm
which
sure
is
that
pretty
average
significant.
is brought
Yeah,
down by all the people who buy your product and don't use it maybe once or twice, and so that brings down the average a lot. I wonder what the
right.
mean would be. It'd probably be like 2 or 3 hours, which is crazy. But even
Hmm.
an hour and a half is still pretty cool. So before we wrap up, where can my listeners find you? Where can they get your product and reduce their screen time and their children's screen time, and
Yeah.
get more of their life?
Yeah, so that's at unpluq.com. Unplug is spelled with a Q in the end. So it's like unplug, but then instead of the G, it's a Q. Unplug.com. They can find out more, read all about Unpluq Family, and also get their Unpluq tag if they would like that.
Awesome. Yeah, I also have that linked in the show notes down below. And thank you for your time, Jorn. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, thanks, Jack.